Moving on to NATO news now. United States to unveil plans to bolster NATO alliance. President Obama, this is out of the New York Times, Obama will unveil a new package of NATO initiatives that include the alliance purchasing a fleet of surveillance drones, sharing weapons and training facilities, and sustaining nuclear deterrence in Europe, even as disarmament efforts continue with an often belligerent Russia, according to senior administration officials. So basically, this whole article is about how the US is handing over the baton of military power to NATO. So we see more, humanitarian invasions carried out to a greater precision around the world. And of course, now the Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta, has reaffirmed the fact, as we highlighted last week, that the White House now sees NATO and the UN as its boss rather than the actual United States Congress. It all makes perfect sense. So again, it's about the shift of US military dominance and shifting it over to UN NATO, so it's in the hands of the international community, so they can have more of their humanitarian bloodletting invasions with no opposition from Congress, because all the power will have shifted to NATO and to the global government. Protesters and police clash at NATO meeting, 2 held on terrorism charges. They made Molotov cocktails, major act of terror. Protesters at the NATO summit meeting clashed with the Chicago police as officers tried to disperse thousands of people who had gathered several blocks from the site of the meeting and refused demands to leave. And here's another one out of The Guardian. Welcome NATO to Chicago's police state. With NATO delegates arriving Saturday night, the city of Chicago has been turned into a police state, courtesy of Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who several months ago began implementing new draconian anti-protest measures. Chicago has gone on security lockdown, and of course that meeting ends today. So massive police state. Again, it's a police state showcase there in Chicago. It's about training people that they have to get permission from the government to sit in a free speech pen about 2 miles away from where anything's happening. And if they try and, horror of horrors, express their God-given First Amendment rights, then they will be treated accordingly. It's about sending out the message to onlookers and other people watching on global television: do not protest. It is now an act of terrorism, which of course is how the Department of Defense now defines protest. So, all the more reason to join the Occupy Bilderberg protest, where the crackdown will be noticeably less severe, because Bilderberg don't want any attention. And as the attendees at Bilderberg this year in Chantilly are going to be broadly similar to the NATO summit, NATO's going to have a presence. So if you want to protest the global elite, but you don't want to get your head caved in by the loving cops, then I would suggest that you join the burgeoning Occupy Bilderberg movement, which is set to take place, of course, at the end of this month, 31st of May. And on that very subject, Bilderberg agenda attracts national exposure. The secretive Bilderberg Group's agenda for its 2012 meeting has attracted national attention, with an article by veteran political journalist Ken Vogel exploring charges that the organization is set to play a decisive role in the upcoming US presidential election. And basically, the nub of this article focuses on our piece from back in April, where we picked up on the fact that the Washington Post had more than suggested that Bilderberg would have a hand in picking Romney's VP, which looks to be Marco Rubio. He seems to be the choice. So basically, in this article, Vogel talks to Romney's advisors, who, of course, being Bilderberg attendees themselves, sworn to secrecy, they deny the organization wields any power. They say, oh, people get together at a nice hotel, have a nice dinner, and then go home, and that's it. Of course, we've manifestly proven that to be complete nonsense over and over again. The Bilderberg Group sets the consensus for policy, which its attendees then agree to carry out in their respective spheres of influence. And that's not me saying that. That was former NATO Secretary General Willie Claes, who admitted it in a 2010 radio interview. He was an attendee. He said, we go there, we create a consensus, we get our orders, we take them back, we implement them. Again, just a game of golf and a nice dinner in a nice hotel. So, Occupy Bilderberg, again, shaping up to be the biggest protest ever. I saw on Facebook, 800 people had completely committed to going. Another 500 were maybe. Those numbers are up now, probably past 1,000. You've got people who don't even use Facebook that are going to be going. So given the fact that they were around, you know, what, 200-300 in Switzerland, halfway up a mountain last year in the middle of nowhere. Chantilly, Virginia, I expect to be the biggest protest against Bilderberg ever, which is delightful indeed, given the fact that a few years ago we got the leak out of Bilderberg, which is the fact that they hate people even having the financial means to travel to be able to protest their meetings. That's how arrogant they are. And their arrogance is going to be noticeably diluted as well this year because, of course, as Alex Jones has broadcast, he has 2 sources inside Bilderberg feeding him information on the group's secret agenda. That's how he was able to phone up the Westfield's Marriott and book the hotel room, even though, you know, they say, oh, there's no rooms available, because he had the code word for the conference, which is the Palm Tree Conference. He got it from his Bilderberg source. So we expect there to be many more explosive bombshell revelations out of the upcoming Bilderberg 2012 conference at the end of this month. Once again, I invite all our viewers, of course, many of you will be watching this on YouTube, to subscribe at prisonplanet.tv. This is what funds the entire operation. If nobody subscribes, then you're not going to see this on YouTube. You're not going to see it anywhere. You're not going to see the kind of explosive guests and information that we bring to you here at InfoWars on a daily basis. So it's $5.95 a month, discounts for yearly subscriptions. We've kept the same prices, even lowered them, even though, you know, it's been in operation now for 8-9 years. All the Alex Jones radio show archives, all the nightly news archives, of course, live streaming of InfoWars Nightly News when it first goes out. You'll see it before anybody on YouTube sees anything. Speeches, special events, rants, behind the scenes, exclusive insider material that you're not going to see anywhere else. And it supports this network. It supports everything we do. And we need your subscriptions at prisonplanet.tv. I'm going to go to the quote of the day now, which is by Carol Quigley. The use of fiat money is more justifiable in financing a depression than financing a war. So again, not only do the elites make money during times of war, they also make money during times of boom and bust. We're going to go to a break now. Coming up after the break, I'm going to talk to Syrian Girl, the outspoken anti-NATO activist, about the situation not only in Syria, but also the Middle East, as US troops now officially present in Yemen. So we're going to go to that interview after this break on InfoWars Nightly News. Stay tuned.
Sick of the globalist eugenicist control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPure. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPure, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPure is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPure. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139.